as you can see, the problem. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. Today we got an easy day. All we've got to do is haul gravel. We're going back over this job that we did the clearing and a little bit of light, simple grading the past couple of days. And to finish the job out, we just got to tailgate some gravel down onto his driveway. I'm excited about it because I get to take this F750 to the yard, drop it off, and pick up our baby boy Wilbur, the 1985 Ford L9000. I like using him, and you guys who have been with me for a while now know I like driving Wilbur better. He's an older truck, he leaks a bunch of oil, burns a lot of fuel, but he's a stout truck and he has a manual transmission, which makes it, to me, a lot easier to do a smooth tailgate. He's got a 10-liter engine. Hauling 8 tons around isn't anything to him, and it's going up a little bit of a grade, so I'll be able to just set it in first gear and open my tailgate just a little bit so it doesn't let gravel out too fast. So by the gravel just coming out slowly, I can actually look in my mirrors and turn around and look at the gravel coming out of the bed. And I can feather fuel off and on to speed up or slow down to adjust the thickness of the gravel that's going down. I think that's the biggest difference between the old truck Wilbur and the new truck Orville, is that with this 6.7 liter automatic, when you hit the fuel, it takes really about 2 full seconds before you have any power change. With the old truck, as soon as you hit the fuel, you're going, and it changes the speed very rapidly. You let off the fuel, and with that high compression of the bigger bore, when you let off the fuel, if you're going downhill, you immediately feel the engine holding the truck back. So it's really easy to make small adjustments with just the fuel pedal. So let's go get our baby boy Wilbur and pick up some gravel. There's my baby boy. Good morning, Wilbur. Check the old oil here. Just right. Show you guys, if you have the tools and you get a little bit of a reputation out there, you're going to work. I can almost promise you, I can't absolutely guarantee it, but I can promise you that if you bought a dump truck, people are going to call you to haul for them. It's as simple as that. I had an old man tell me one time, he's like, if you buy a dump truck, people will worry you to death. That's a quote. And by worry, he meant that people are going to call you all the time to work. There's not huge money in running a dump truck. Most trucks that run dedicated for a quarry make like 80 bucks an hour, 100 bucks an hour. I figure when I'm running my dump truck, $156 an hour. By the time I pay 30% tax, that's about 100 bucks per hour. And my justification for that is not only do I own a dump truck, but I own an excavator. The excavator I know makes 150 bucks an hour. So I'm I'm going to price my loads on that same thing. Reason being is, why would I shut my excavator down that makes 150 bucks an hour to work for 80 bucks an hour? It doesn't make sense. With all the equipment I have, the machine that makes the most money is the excavator. So if I have work for the excavator, I'm not going to pull off of a job to go work for less. If somebody wants me to run a load of gravel for them, I'm glad to do it. But I've got to make at least what I could be making doing something else that's available. So in the wintertime, if excavation and grading falls off and the truck is just sitting and I'm not doing anything, which this last winter was not the case, I was working every day. But if it did fall off, yeah, I would drop my prices. And that's part of owning a business. You've got to adapt with the demand. Now I'm going to get this 5-ton load of gravel. We're going to run it. Then we'll go back over and have some fun at the other job. I'm headed back there to the sweet corn today. I'm going to need about 5 tons. It's alright if we're just a little heavy on this one. Next week. They want it yesterday. They want it right now. If you've got a job going on like I do, where I can just haul gravel to it at my convenience, but I'm still needing to get that job done. If somebody wants it right now, you know, it's going to cost a little bit more. That's just how it works. So this customer is getting 5 tons, and in this case, for their location, it's costing them 240 bucks. So roughly 20 bucks a ton from the quarry that we're hauling out of. You can do that math. That's $140. So it's not a bad haul bill. It's not super far from the quarry, but it's holding me up from getting this other job done. So when you start getting in that situation, that means that you are in a higher demand. Demand costs more. If you guys are looking at going into your own business, doing a dump truck service for yourself, that's something you gotta learn. Number one, you gotta learn your local market. Not every market can pay between $100 and $150 per haul bill. But for my area, that's acceptable. Now I am making the same money running a single axle as, Ben Davidson, as these guys running tri-axles. Is that fair? Of course it is. They can haul more material, but I can get in places that they can't. Mostly people's driveways. I can raise my bed up all the way. They can't if there's power lines or tree limbs. That's just a little tidbit of information. I won't bore you guys with any more of that. I know everybody is loving when I throw these prices out there, and I'm going to continue to do it. There's so many factors on each job. Even if I tell the whole world exactly to the penny what I'm charging, for somebody to put that formula together and figure it out, that they, as far as me being concerned about them competing with me, I'm not concerned at all. also not concerned with giving out information that's going to help you guys. People used to guard their prices super secret. I see so many YouTubers saying, this is how you do this job, this is how you do that. That is absolutely no good to you, the viewer, if you don't know what to charge and you don't know what is competitive or what can get you. And I'm sure there's so many contractors out there just biting at the bit to get me to not tell it. But if you're a good contractor and you go by your word and you have a good reputation, you can bid a job higher than somebody else. But if you're kind and you're honest with your customers, they'll still hire you, even though your price was higher, because they trust that you're going to give them their money's worth, even if it's higher. What good is a lower price if somebody's going to not do what they say they're going to do? See what I'm saying? You may have to be cheaper in the beginning, but once you build your reputation and you're honest, that's the one thing in this world that nobody can take from you, is your honesty and your integrity. As long as you guard that and you maintain it, you can have a business and you can be successful. That was a heavy customer. I wish I had been able to spread it just a little bit thicker, really. But when you got to stretch out 5 tons over, let's see, how far was that? Shoot, I'd say 100 feet. You're not going to get it to be very thick. I would probably put down at least 8 tons. But you know, people just buy what they can afford or what they want to put into their driveway. For a lot of people, either a driveway is the last thing they want to put money into, or it's the first thing. It just depends on a person's personal preference. So let's go get a full load up. I think we'll do about 8 tons on this next load and haul it down the job site. Now the only reason that I have you guys facing me right now is because the microphone. I haven't got the external mic yet, so I want you to be able to hear me. But one thing I always want to push with people is sometimes the shortest path to your destination is not the best one. You want to take the busiest path. When you're working in whether it's a big town or a small town, now this is provided that you put the money into getting details and graphics on your vehicle that says your service, where you're located, and your phone number. Right now I'm running on a 5-lane. It's a U.S. highway through the small town that we live in, but right now I'm looking at about 30 moving vehicles. That is 30 potential customers. Now there's a road just adjacent to us about 100 feet. It's a 2-lane road. There's very little traffic on it comparatively. And everybody thinks I hate traffic. I don't want to be around traffic. Traffic means people. People means income. Put it out of your frame of thought that you don't want to be sitting in traffic. And even if you're sitting in dead stop traffic, guess what? People are getting bored. They're sitting there, they're looking around. Slow traffic or stop traffic means that they can eye contact with you, smile and wave at them. It's going to make you money, and it's going to probably make you some friends, some good clients, because if they respond to you being smiling and happy, there's a good chance that they're that type of person, and that's the type of clients you want. You don't want somebody that's angry, somebody that's defensive. Those people are so hard to work for. It is not worth to me any amount of money to work for somebody who's difficult. So keep those couple of things in mind. If you're looking into going and grading and excavation, running a dump truck service, I'd love for you to consider subscribing to the channel. Not everything that I say is useful. You're not going to agree with everything that I say, but what I am saying is with the best of intentions to help you be successful and help you get a business started. And if you have started a business, I'm here to share what I know. Right or wrong, I'm going to share it, and hopefully it helps you guys and gals. This is an industry for men and women, so go for it. Don't hold back. The economy is great despite all this virus stuff. There's plenty to go around. So let's get this next load and move on up the road. First thing you check when you get to the job is any overhead obstacles. Here we have a phone line, which is usually the line on the bottom, and we have the power supply line, which is usually the line on top. It's usually a thicker cable. You do not want to touch that. Most of the time it's in a casing, but don't take the chance. What we can do here, since these lines are running in the direction that we're going to be tailgating material out, I can back up under this line and raise my bed up and let the headache rack, which is that part of a dump bed that's over the cab, raise that line up, and I'll be able to skim along it. And you've got to make sure that you don't have any like nicks or sharp edges on your headache rack that could hang that line. Once we raise it up as high as we need to, we can just pull straight out and turn to tailgate this material one way or the other. And you'll notice that I'll start dropping my bed before I actually get to where the road turns down, because it has to drop quite a bit before the gravel stops coming out. We'll back up, move over a little bit, and tailgate another section. We're not going to put it down real thick, but it'll be a nice pretty coat. I'm sure you guys heard the gravel start rattling and shifting. That tells us that the bed is raised up high enough for material to start sliding out of here. When you're first learning to tailgate gravel, just go ahead and pull your chains as tight as you can, and then, see, that wouldn't let it open much at all. Go one link. One link is all you need to let that tailgate come open. Now this is for washed stone. Road Bond, ABC, Crusher Run won't hardly come out of there with it open just a little bit, but when you're first learning, get some 3/4 wash spreading under your belt. It's super easy. It's just like pouring water out of the bed. The good thing about leaving things tight is you don't have to get a rolling start before you pop that tailgate open. If you're spreading like I do, as much as counting off 12 links, so really about 3 to 4 more links than where we are at right now. When it's like that, as soon as that tailgate comes open, you're going to have a spread about that wide come open. So you've got to be moving. When you're trying to tailgate away from a building, even I use the smallest link. Now, this being a manual drive truck, you can walk about as fast as it will go in first gear. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to put it in first gear. I'm going to pop the tailgate. I'm not going to feel rushed. I'm not going to be in a hurry. I'm going to pop the tailgate open and just ease off on the clutch and just let the truck do the work. It's that easy. There you go. Yet again, you guys can see. Actually, let me just take y'all. See how it's just kind of trickling out of there? That's about how much open that tailgate is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kick this little pile down. And eventually it'll just stop pouring out on its own unless we raise this bed back up. So I'm going to move this so I don't have a little hump of gravel that's going to make my spread just horrible. All right, let's spread this side, see how it does. This right here is the prime reason why I brought our handy dandy shovel. Do not stick your fingers in it. Show you what it looks like when we open 2 links. We're already at 1 link open. Let's go to 2 on both sides. The only thing we're changing is the number of links. We're now 2 open from being completely closed. I'm still going to only do first gear and at idle speed. Now our bed is actually raised up about that far above the power line. So for the beginner, I recommend just tailgating straight ahead, because it's hard to tell in your mirrors once you get going along when you need to drop the bed, and once it's low enough, when can you turn. So just go straight and stop, check it out, see how it went, and learn from it. Now the question here is, how are we going to get this all tied in? I am going to go ahead and reset to 1 link and double down on the original side that we did, just because I want to take it a little bit thicker, and then we'll regroup and see how we're going to tie all this in. All right, my friends, we've gotten the parking area tailgated, but now we're in a little bit different situation. We're not going to have the overhead obstacle, but let me just say that I highly recommend, if you're in mountainous terrain, most roads are not perfectly level side to side, and most of the time you're either going uphill or downhill. That being said, right here, since the power lines are kind of where we have to stop, we can't spread going forward facing uphill as easily, because we could tear those lines down. On camera, I know it's hard to tell, but this road right here, number one, when you make a turn and you've got a bed up there, especially if it's a full bed, that's a lot of weight tilting side to side. The one thing going for you is you have even distribution. You have even weight at the back of the dump bed, which means that's holding your center of gravity low. Any weight up high, that's what makes you wobble or potentially turn over. Right here we have a turn and it goes downhill also. So when your truck pivots forward, it's almost like a football player in a three-point stance. You've got 2 points of contact at the back of the bed, but you have one single lift cylinder toward the front. So it's very important that before you start spreading, you've got your bed up a little bit higher than normal, because when you're pitching forward, it's got to go on up to get the material to come out. Not only does the material have to be able to come out, it has to be back toward the back of the bed, because it becomes very unstable. If it's really steep going downhill, it's very easy for that weight to get off to one side and want to pitch you. Also, most of the grip in your truck, when a dump truck is going downhill, especially when it's empty, it'll start doing what we call ball hooping, and that's where the rear end is wanting to go faster than the front. I know it doesn't really make sense, but the first time you experience it, you'll know. Especially if it's loose ground or wet concrete, it'll start hopping, and it can start hopping and fishtailing side to side. That's one thing that makes this very dangerous, and even more important, that you keep the weight toward the back of your truck. Once you start your spread and you know you're starting to empty the bed out, keep raising the bed up. And that way, you keep your center of gravity as low as possible. Now, as you do this and you do things that you know you're comfortable doing, your skill level will go up, and you will get to where you do things that you used to not be comfortable doing. Just if you ever feel like, I shouldn't do this, don't do it. Figure another way out. So, at my skill level and my experience, which is several years, I'm going to leave this in 2 lengths, and I'm going to put it first gear, and I'm going to idle. I'm going to be very careful to take this turn as wide as I can, because if I go up on this, it's going to pitch my weight, and that's not something you want. You want to keep it as level as possible, and I'm just going to idle. I'm not going to stop. As I idle down through there, once I hear the gravel stop and my bed's all the way up, I'm going to drop the bed. I'm not going to try to stop with that bed up in the air. I'm going to just keep idling down the road. And that, my friends, is how you tailgate gravel, going uphill and downhill. I hope you guys enjoyed this little addition to our excavation and grading series. I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel and dinging the bell. I know some videos are better than others for you, but the only way I know what you need to see and what's going to help you is if you drop it in the comments. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a great day.